I actually had planned to talk about sports in general, ratings and such, and give my opinions about that. This story popped up. We'll push the ratings thing back to another time, kind of just talking about different sports channels out there on YouTube that are always laughing and bashing the ratings. Yet they're a sports channel. It's one of those things where it's comparable to those individuals who made a career bashing Trump, or perhaps Obama before him. You're bashing sports, Trump leaves. We've seen CNN, MSNBC ratings in the shitter. Be careful what you ask for if you are a sports channel and you're cheering on these ratings declines. I'm just saying, it's your livelihood. You might want to, but we'll get into that in another video. Super Bowl mañana. The game is tomorrow from when I'm recording this. It's late Saturday night. You'll be seeing this Sunday, perhaps, maybe after. Don't care about the game at all. I've got sports card investments. So regardless of who wins, as long as Tom Brady and Mike Evans do well, hopefully their cards go up so I can get those sold. Don't care about the outcome. Care about this. Critically injured 5-year-old girl left in a coma after being hit by Kansas City Chiefs assistant coach who was drinking and driving as his head coach father, Andy Reid, and the team lands in Tampa. The Chiefs and head coach Andy Reid arrived in Tampa on Saturday afternoon. Linebacker coach Britt Reid, Andy's son, did not travel with the team. He's the guy. Reid, 35, was involved in a car crash on Thursday evening that left a 5-year-old girl critically injured and a 4-year-old with non-life-threatening injuries. He told officers that he had 2 or 3 drinks before the crash. You know how it is, everybody. Number of drinks, your body count. We can multiply that by a factor of 2, 3, 4? If somebody says 2 or 3, you know they had at least 5, right? Reid also admitted that he takes Adderall on prescription. Officers noted that Reid appeared impaired when they arrived at the scene, and he is now being investigated. He has faced previous DUI charges, as well as gun and drug charges. The 5-year-old critically injured in the crash has been named locally as Ariel, and this crash locally took place in Kansas City before they flew out to Tampa. The team confirmed on Saturday that Britt was not making the trip to Tampa and that he was involved in a multi-vehicle pileup in Missouri that resulted in the injury of 2 young children. And before I give my thoughts on this, let's just read it. Let's read it, right? Let's see if there's any nuance to it or he was just a drunk loser. Gotta wait for the facts, right? The crash happened on an entrance ramp, 1 exit south of the Chiefs' practice facility. Reid, who is reported to have previous DUI, drug and gun charges, is now being investigated to determine whether he was impaired at the time of the crash. Ariel's family has since started a GoFundMe page to raise funds for her medical expenses and to help her single mother. 2 kids. That has nothing to do with Ariel. Not Ariel's fault. Single mothers, everyone. Let's check out the GoFundMe page and let's see how that's doing. She misses work to stay with. Okay. Boom. There you go. $100,000 goal. $114,000 raised. Critically hurt in suspected DUI crash. Cute kid there, right? You see the 100K was met. Okay, so it's met, so let's close the fundraiser, right? Or is it going to be one of those situations like we always see where individuals will up the amount? 114K received, we'll see this tomorrow, of the $200,000 goal. Keep moving the goalposts. We saw that when several weeks ago, maybe a month ago, there were individuals who were turning their parents in for their participation in the Capitol tours that were going on back in January. One individual in particular turned his dad in and then used it to raise funds, claiming he was going to get kicked out of his house, wanted college money. Once his goal was met, he bumped up that threshold again. Sold his parent out. Let's see what is going on with the story, though. Single mother. There he is right now. You may be in a world of hurt, homie. This accident may be enough to turn even those in Kansas City into Bucs fans. The crash took place after 9 p.m. on Thursday night on Interstate 435 near Eastwood Traffic Way, close to the Truman Sports Complex, where the Chiefs were wrapping up final practices. The police reported that a Chevrolet Impala had run out of gas and parked in the entrance ramp from Stadium Drive to I-35 as they called family to help. When the family arrived, they parked a Chevrolet Traverse in front of the stranded vehicle. Reid told police that he was driving a white Dodge Ram Laramie Sport pickup truck that struck the left side of the Impala as the driver tried to get it up and running. Okay, the driver had been in the car at the time Reid struck the vehicle, but did not suffer any injuries. The report states that Reid's Ram then continued to strike the parked Traverse, where 2 children were sitting in the back seat. The Kansas City Police Department said in a statement that a 5-year-old child injured in the accident was in critical condition and a 4-year-old suffered non-life-threatening injuries. They were being transported to hospital to be treated for their injuries. An adult was also sitting in the front of the second car but was not injured. The 5-year-old has been named as Ariel. She is said to have suffered severe brain trauma. Set up a GoFundMe. Damn, there she is right there. Like I said, cute kid. It's terrible, man. Terrible. No child deserves to go through this, nor should any mother have to see her child like this. According to the warrant, officers could smell a moderate odor of alcoholic beverages from Reid when they arrived at the scene and noted that his eyes were bloodshot. Reid told officers that he had 2 to 3 drinks and informed them of his Adderall prescription. The warrant also states that an officer noted signs of impairment in Reid. Interesting. I caught a story, I think it was last weekend, where these morons on the Chiefs had to be put into COVID protocol. A week ahead of the game, they were out trying to get a haircut. It wasn't all of them. It was a few of them, including star QB, Mahomes. You're telling me you're a week out from the game and you're going to do something to put yourself at risk? Biggest game of the year, of their life for some people. Chiefs were there last year. Biggest game of the year. You want to get a haircut so you can look fresh when you get off the plane, so you can look fresh when you take your helmet off on the sidelines. Same thing here. That was a lot better than this. You're telling me couple days, whenever this happened, before the game, all the work that's gone in, the pre-game planning, preparation, everything, you shouldn't have time to do anything else but focus on this one thing. And he's out here doing this. Everything that's on the line, everything your sport is built for, coming down to this one game, and this is what you do. The haircuts, we can excuse that in the face of this idiot right here. The assistant coach was taken to the hospital after the crash, after complaining of stomach pains, but his injuries are described as non-life-threatening. This is not the first time Reid has had trouble with the law over potential drinking and driving. In 2007, then age 22, Reid was sentenced to 8 to 23 months in jail plus 5 years probation on gun and drug charges. It came after he pointed a handgun at another driver following a dispute, according to ESPN. Reid pleaded guilty to carrying an unlicensed firearm, simple assault, possession of a controlled substance, and possession of an instrument of crime in connection with the incident. An instrument of crime. I wonder what that could be. According to KSHB, Reid had been arrested again 7 months later. Wait a minute. 7 months later? They said he was supposed to be getting 8 to 23 months in jail. How could he be, plus the 5 years probation, how could he be arrested 7 months later? Didn't fully do his time. Okay, got it. I don't know how that works. Never been to jail. Never plan on it. Hopefully, if you've been, don't go back. And if you haven't been, don't go. Reid had been arrested again 7 months later and charged with DUI, controlled substance, possession of a controlled substance, and possession of drug paraphernalia. His bail was revoked from the first arrest, and he again pleaded guilty, receiving a sentence of 1 to 6 months. How is it possible that he received just a 1 to 6 month sentence? He got 5 years probation from the first charge. Granted, some of the charges may be different, but isn't he supposed to be doing that full 5-er? Again, I don't, call me crazy. I don't know how it works. Haven't spent any time in the system, but yeah, I guess my understanding is a little bit off. Pennsylvania court records show that he was fined more than $10,000 for the 2 incidents and ordered to complete drug court, which he did in July 2012. ESPN reported that as Britt and his brother Garrett Reid were sentenced following the first arrest in 2007, a judge likened their father's home to a drug emporium as he questioned whether the adult son should live there. Britt and Garrett Reid, they're questioning the father's home as a drug emporium. So that's tying it to Andy Reid, the Chiefs head coach, back then. Apparently he has a history, not fully familiar with it, but at the time, Garrett, who was described as a drug addict and dealer, was sentenced after crashing into another car while high on heroin. The publication claimed that the brothers overmedicated throughout much of their lives and that Britt became hooked on painkillers after suffering a football injury in high school. The old maxed out in high school, huh? Well, even Al Bundy went on to lead Polk High to a championship. His career didn't go anywhere in college. You didn't see him turn to drugs. Come on, Al Bundy. 4 touchdowns in the championship game. It sounds more or less like a drug emporium there, with all the drugs all over the house. And you're an addict, Judge O'Neill told Britt. The Chiefs said on Saturday they were still in the information gathering process and had no further comment on Thursday's crash. Britt Reid has been with the team since his father was hired by the franchise in 2013. And even back in 2007, Reid was coaching. Not exactly sure. I know he was with the Eagles before the Chiefs. Not sure if he was there in 2007. But he was in the realm of coaching, you'd believe. So certainly there was a public knowledge of who Andy Reid is. Nice Louis Vuitton handbag there, girl. Does he got a little barf bag there? Or is that a, BYOB? Look at this. They wear Lululemons. Amazing how you could be so big and masculine, but dress so feminine. Nice ankles, girl. Red shoes. At least they match his tie. This guy's got it right. When you're jacked like that, you got to rock the short sleeves, show off them guns. Jeez, if I had any, I'd be showing off too. Comments. Hope Her Majesty's Queen will ban alcohol in Canada permanently so such things don't happen. Tobacco, yeah. We got a comedian with his track record, how to get a job, and obvious liability. His dad, why would you ask the question? Too many sports stars get away with things like drunk driving. A lot of them get away with the alleged pinning down of women, or a woman in Colorado as well long ago. Grabbed her by the neck. His own words. Choked her. Still celebrated to this day, even after his death. So those kind of cases, beating women, punching out other people, committing all sorts of crimes, the things that we allow individuals to get away with, still look up to them, still have our kids look up to them. If they can dribble a basketball, throw a football, or hit a baseball, right? Now, I'm not saying that's all of them. It may be a smaller percentage than the general population. When you hear about it, you tend to think like it's more prevalent than it really is, but this problem may be less than it is for general society, as I said. It's just publicized, right? You hear about it. You don't hear about all the times the man or the woman beats their partner, or the everyday person who gets in a DUI, right? We don't hear about those kind of things. We only hear about it when the elites have it happen to them. Shame on this a-hole. May the poor baby heal and his liver fail. Bloody drunks, he should get life in prison. He'll be taking care of the bills. That's probably the case, yet, the SMILF still set up a GoFundMe. Andy Reid has done right when it comes to football. Unfortunately, when it comes to his family's life, he has not had good luck or success. White affluence and privilege, says somebody in Detroit. I posted a comment. What I said was, let's wait and see what the verdict is. Let's wait and see what happens. I said, if it turns out where this guy gets some kind of community service or another slap on the wrist, then something may be fishy. But let's wait and see what the sentence is. And I concluded it with saying, I hope they throw the book at this dude. I hope they hammer him. Granted, his other stuff was 10 years ago. I always love a second chance, a third chance even, when you don't hurt other people. But once you hurt people, and you know how it is, man, kids and old folk, once you mess with them, sympathy's gone. So hopefully they make an example of this guy, is what I said. If this stuff turns out to be factual, and given her state, she doesn't come out of her coma. I really hope that they do, because sure, it's legal. A lot of things are legal, but there's repercussions. You have to drop the hammer on people so they don't ruin it for everyone else. We're not saying drinking and driving. We're just saying the ability to drink in general. Call an Uber, homie. Don't ruin it for everyone else. In these cases involving high-profile individuals or somewhat high-profile, probably few and far between. These things happen on our streets all the time. There's probably one happening right now. But you have to really drop the hammer so people know that they can't get away with this. We've seen cases where somebody comes along, DUI, 3 years in jail, if that, less sometimes, 4 or 5 years in jail for a life. Just doesn't seem justified. I'm not saying to outlaw alcohol. I hope that you at least understand what I'm saying, is that you don't want people out there doing this, hurting other people. So examples have to be made so that the rest of society knows, hey, this stuff is okay to drink, but be responsible. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Be well.